Carlos, who's that? Top left-hand corner.
This is Chuck.
Oh, hi. And we have Rocco in the room. So you may as well unmute yourselves because we are going to make this really interactive because I am not going to just talk about slides. As you know, nobody learns from that. So we're going to talk about the fact that we are in a shift. We're going to talk about our mindset and our expense management today. And we're going to have great discussions. So thank you guys for joining. And here we go. Get real, get right, set your mind, and take the right actions to thrive in a shift. Okay. Why does this sometimes not work? You're gonna have to show. I'm just sharing. Oh, you're sharing with them? Just getting technology set up. Okay. We good? Or they don't see that slide. Okay, I'm just gonna shut the door so people don't hear me yelling. Okay, thank you, Carlos. Okay, so we're talking about the market temperature and just want to throw it out to the group. What's happening in your market right now? For those of you that are in the market now, what's happening? What are you seeing? Maysoon, do you want to start us off?
Worried people.
Worried, yeah. Sort of buyers in a fearful state, right?
Yeah, opportunities for investors.
Sorry, opportunities for investors?
Yeah. That's what's lots of things. You want me to count more? Sellers. Yeah. Sellers are very reluctant, you know. We want to list today, we want to wait 2 weeks. Let's wait till next month. And yeah, everybody is just waiting. But there's definitely smart people out there, they're making decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to add?
Hi, Barb.
Hey, Dan.
How are ya?
I'm good. Do you have anything you want to add what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, I'm starting to see a lot more homes come on the market without offer dates. I'm starting to see some properties just sit here. But in talking to people, I'm also feeling a lot of optimism with people on they're excited for where the numbers are looking and listings coming to market, talking to home inspectors and other people that often see homes before they get listed. And, you know, a lot of people are talking that a lot more properties are coming. So I don't know. I don't think I'm seeing the same as Maysoon. I'm seeing a lot more optimism out there.
There is. That's why there's opportunities. But, you know, there's all types of people. Investors, end users are different. And yeah, East York, North York, everywhere it's different. And I'm seeing people like agent with offer night as well. It's like came back like 200 below market. I don't know if in the beaches it's the same.
Sorry, they came back how much below market?
200. I'm looking for properties now in North York, in Scarborough. All the condos are listed really like low.
And are they holding offers or not?
Holding offers.
Holding offers. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends so much on the property type and area. And just to give you guys an example, I had an offer last night on a 3-bedroom condo in the beach. And in the area that I specialize in, there's rarely 3-bedroom condos. So I listed it at $999. It was about 1,100 square feet. I thought we'd get like 4 or 5 offers. We had 1 offer and we had so many showings. And I just thought that was really interesting. Now I'm glad that we did the $999 offer because if we had listed it at, 1.2, it may have taken 6 weeks to sell and he might not have even got the number he got. So I mean, every situation is so different, but I'm definitely seeing a change in buyers in the bidding process for sure. And I don't know if you guys noticed in EO2, anyone that works in EO2, EO1, EO2, tons of relists, cancel and relists in houses.
Richmond Hill is the same. I'm struggling to know how to price a property between 2.5 and 3 million. Everybody else around me relisted 2 times.
Yeah, I mean, I would, in that space, my personal opinion would be to list it at market value today. If it's worth more, you'll get more organically.
Yeah.
So many
Um,
realists.
Sorry?
So many realists.
Tons and tons and tons. And one thing that I thought was very interesting from a statistical perspective is that year over year listings have increased 16% in August, year over year. I think that we need to really, if we're talking about a shift today, which we are, we need to look at that stat extremely seriously, because there is going to be, if you've talked to home inspectors and stagers, they're booked solid. So to Maysoon's point about opportunities for buyers and investors, I think that this fall is going to be that. So I don't know. I guess time will tell. Just another quick question on the interest rates. Does anyone on the line or in the room feel that there's optimism with the fact that the Bank of Canada kept the interest rate flat and held the interest rate?
100%.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so people, yeah.
I don't think we're going to really see the optimism until we start seeing talks of no more hikes or it coming down, because they keep saying we're pausing, but we might increase in the future.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what one of the reasons why I went crazy at the beginning of this year was they said, looks like we're done. Everything's going back. And then
right.
it went crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and before we get on to the next slide, because we're having a good discussion, I was in a listing appointment yesterday, and the lady said, do you think I should list now, like this fall, or do you think I should wait till the spring? And before anyone takes a stab at kind of answering that, I thought that was a very interesting question, because my go-to answer every single time is, well, we know what's happening in the market today, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that could be different now. So let's talk about that. So anyone have that question?
I've had the same questions a couple times, and my response to them was, let's work on prepping your house now, and let's monitor the market. And if the market looks like it's revving quite well in mid-September or end of September, October, then let's list. And if we don't feel that it's the right time, then then we regroup and talk, and maybe we look at the spring.
Right.
But I try to leave it to them, and I try to help them do all of the work possible. And then when they feel comfortable, then we do it.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Anyone else have anything that they would answer?
We go back to their motivations. Why to sell now or in the spring, other than the market? We can't time the market, right? So this is the market now, but we have to keep going back and asking them the personal motivations, like why are they selling? Where are they moving? What happened to whatever they're going to move to? All of this. So
yes, that's a very good point. Yeah, an extremely important point. When the lady had a lot of questions for me yesterday, and she said that was the one question she wanted me to answer. She had, and then at the end of the presentation, she had 3 questions. That was one of them. And I said, well, let's talk about that question. And I just said, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, it's not up to me when you list your home. It's like, what do you want to do? Like, what stresses you out? What is it that these people that don't have to move today, but they maybe want to downsize to a condo, like there's a lot of those kind of people in the market, sellers in the market right now that don't have to sell today. So I think it's really important to have those questions and conversations, to your point, Maysoon, about, what is really important and then what is really important to them. And then it came out that she's got all these emotional memories in the home and she doesn't want to rush it. And okay, well, you answered your own question. You know what I mean? So motivation is key. And then also to Dan's point, get the home ready now, because real estate has a short-term memory. And you've seen how quickly this market can change on a dime. Like the minute that the media says, looks like the Bank of Canada is going to reduce rates in the first quarter by 50 basis points. You know what's going to happen? It's going to be like all over again. Here we are, bidding war frenzy, right? You know that that's going to happen. So just be prepared. Jeez, I don't know what that. Somebody's singing or playing music. Just kidding. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. Where was I? Someone help me.
We're just going to prepare, help them.
Prepare for the market we're in, like get ready for the market that we're in, educate them. And then just anticipate the market we're going into. What goes up comes down, what goes down comes up. We are in a positive position for the interest rates to eventually be coming down. So at least there's positivity at the end of the tunnel here, at the end of the road. Okay. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein. So we need to basically have a growth mindset, which is awesome that you guys are on this call, and I want to make this really valuable for you. So please bring things up that you want to talk about and brainstorm, and we can role play, we can objection handle. All those sorts of things are so key in a market like this, because we're going to be hit with questions we haven't been hit with before. Basically, we do need to be more focused and more activity. I know you guys know that. The one thing that I think will really, really help is, do you guys get Jason Friesen's stat reports? He's a mortgage broker. I'm telling you right now, if you want to look like an absolute rock star in a listing appointment, you can choose the community, you can choose the area, you can download the stats for that area, study them, know them, have them in your back pocket or however you do your listing presentation. But just have them there. And then you throw those out and say, yeah, actually in EO2 for detached homes, the actual decline was 9% from a year-over-year perspective. So, at the end of the day, over a 10-year span, the sale to list price ratio has actually been the same. Even though there's less buyers in the market, we're still actually in a high demand area, and we're still getting 105% of list price. So when you come at that with those numbers, you're seen as the local area expert. It doesn't take much to do it. Set your priorities to thrive in the market that's coming. I just kind of went over that. And just like educate, go back in time. And, in 1987, when there was a market crash, understand the inflationary measures that happened then, because what happened in history is probably what's going to happen today.
Sorry, Barb, can you repeat who are you talking? Who's Jason Friesen?
Jason Friesen is a mortgage broker that's done a number of presentations to our office. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. I'm not sure if he's a preferred supplier or not, but he must be, because he's done presentations. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. One of the nicest guys you've met. He will take the time to speak to your clients, talk them through everything. He's very smart in the world of mortgage, and he's just an overall good human being. So really great guy to lean on.
The fact that he provides realtors with this kind of information is incredible. Like yesterday, I was just like, I'm not like super smart. I'm not the smart person with numbers and stuff. But like I appeared to be very smart with numbers yesterday. And so like that's half the battle, is if you can appease those C-type personalities with all those numbers, and then also have the emotional intelligence in a listing appointment, you're going to get that listing appointment every time. Okay, so what's the reality that we're in right now? We know sales volume and transactions have dropped significantly. I think it's really important when you're talking to your clients to discuss the fact that the COVID era, real estate era, was a false, or maybe not false market, but unrealistic market. It's not a sustainable market. We had free money. We had interest rates at 1.5% or whatever they were. You could go, you could have really very little income and buy a $2 million home type of thing. Those days are over now, which is why there are less buyers in the market. We are actually, if you look at a graph, we are actually trending exactly where we should be trending in the Toronto real estate market. It climbs every year, generally speaking, 10% on average, 7% on average. So if you take out those 2 years of anomalies, we're actually doing just fine. There's no market crash coming. Even with all these interest rate hikes, we still have immigration numbers, and we still have a supply issue. So know the fundamentals and be able to explain those in a listing in any appointment. So the reality that we are in right now is kind of unknown, because inventory is climbing. It's the first time I've seen 16% year over year listings are up. That kind of scares me as mostly a listing agent, because That means there's more competition and buyers have more choice, and buyers have the luxury of time now. So this is going to be a very interesting fall. Buyers are more reluctant than ever. Like, you know, this condo normally in a hot market, it probably would have sold for 1.3. And I only had one offer out of like 50 showings. So buyers they're just waiting. Sellers are, I mean, there's a lot of unrealistic sellers out there as well. And just anxiety is high, right? So this is the reality we're in. So we need to understand. Thank you. What am I doing now?
Oh, so you're
Do I
not
go-
looking so far.
Oh, okay.
You can still use
Can I still
that.
use this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, about the anxiety and about all this kind of reality we're in, and without getting too technical, we need to step back and go, how can we actually help people? What is it that people want from us when we go to an appointment, whether it's a buyer or a seller? Those are the questions we need to answer and ask when we're in them, because there is a lot of fear out there and there is a lot of anxiety.
I just have a question. Like if the inventory is climbing and there's a lot of fear, I guess I'm just putting the question out there. So who's selling and why are they selling?
That's a great question, Judy. Can someone answer that for her, please? Oh, hey, Carlos. Sorry, guys.
I'll jump in. Who's selling? People, the world is still going. People are still looking to move up. I still talk to people all the time about they need more space. They want more space. So people are still upgrading. People are still needing to do what they do. There's just less people doing it.
Anyone else want to jump in? Thanks, Dan. I mean, there are some that have, not necessarily saying they want to test the market. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, Tanya. Okay, Tanya raised her hand.
Oh, we can't hear you, Tanya. Me too. I was talking. I didn't know I was on mute.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, it is now.
Okay. Yeah, I've met with a couple of people where they're selling because they have to sell. And it's because they can't afford the mortgage rates. So I've seen a few of those as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, if your clients are wanting to test the market, we all know the answer to that, right? Now is not the time to test the market. You don't get to decide what the market will do, but you definitely get to decide what you will do. And now more than ever, we need strategies to increase the number of people that we're working with. So we all know that a seller's market is when buyer exceeds seller supply. A balanced market is when buyer demand equals seller supply, which is 5 to 7 months of inventory. And a buyer's market is more than 7 months of inventory. Where are we at right now? For the most part.
I would say it's a balanced market, I think.
Yeah, and I think it depends, I guess, what area we're in too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pricing becomes ever more crucial at a time like this. Okay, sales cycle, income cycle, seasonal shifts. Not really sure the purpose of this, but if someone wants to explain this slide for me, go for it. I mean, the shift. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Someone wanted to say something.
I don't really understand what this is talking about either, but I think it just goes back to there's a cycle in every year in real estate, and the summer always is a flat period, just like this income cycle. I don't know if that's what we're supposed to be getting into with this, but people always talk about the market is shit, and you're like, yeah, no shit. We just come off of August. No one turns up in August.
Yeah, like August is the slowest month of the year. Go ahead, Rocco.
I think maybe that's consumer confidence. When you get a job, you go buy something.
Yeah. Okay. So Rocco was saying it's consumer confidence. When you go get a job, you have more money, you go buy something. So maybe that the sales cycle. Anyways, we're going to move along. Okay. Thank you for that. That's probably it. So if you have more money and I don't know. Okay. So what causes economic shifts? So I did some research on these dates and, there was inflationary measures that increased the price by 4 times in the 80s. And so that was really what crashed the market in the 80s. And then in 2006, the land transfer tax was introduced to the city of Toronto, the municipal, the 2 taxes, not just the one. And then in 2020, interest rates hiked. Interest rates hiked happened. Anyways, what? Here, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Do you guys want to say anything about any of these economic shifts?
They all happened. Market went down, and then the market kept coming back up afterwards.
Exactly. And what's really interesting about these economic shifts, when I go look at a 20-year graph, it's a pretty short-lived, pain type of thing. So we've had how many interest rate hikes? I think it's 10. Maysoon, is it 10?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So, we're coming out of that soon. I'm an optimist. So I think that by the end of this year, I think even if we have one more hike, which I don't think we will, but let's say we do, the only way it can go from there is down. So let's start talking with our clients about the positivity and creating a sense of urgency for buyers, investors. Like now is your time, because the minute the media says something about something positive in real estate happening, people are sheep and they follow the news, and it will be a busy market and prices are going to go back up again. And we need to remember that people live in their payment. They don't live in the price. So again, it comes down to affordability and what people can afford at the end of the day. But I do think short-term pain for long-term gain is what I'm saying to my clients that are buyers, because if you buy now, 5 years from now, you're going to thank me. So, shifts, change is inevitable. It's going to happen. They don't happen with the same predictability and regularity as, say, like a seasonal real estate market. We know that March and September are 2 of the big months in real estate where everybody lists their home. But with these kind of shifts, we just don't know. They can happen very fast, and they can frighten people. We know that. And like I said, real estate has a short-term memory. It can also go the opposite way. If we had a 50 basis point drop today, you know what the market would do? It would react like that. Real estate would change in a day. Now it can affect every aspect of life. And I think this statement is probably one of the most important things in understanding our clients' affordability situation right now, because we have grocery prices, we have gas prices. I have a client where their mortgage payment doubled and they're thinking of actually moving out of the city just due to the fact that they're like, God, they bought I think their interest rate was like less than 2% and it was variable, and you can understand what their payment is now. So there are certain clients that are really feeling this pain, and this is where we need to show up for them and provide solutions. When a market shifts, there's only one thing to do: shift with it. In truth, there are 2 shifts you must make: a mental shift and an action shift. May I ask if anybody is struggling right now, and this is a safe room. There's 9 people on the call and 2 people in the room. So this is safe. And if you are struggling right now with your business, I'd love to kind of talk through it right now with anybody about how we can get you back mentally, just mindset wise. And I love the fact that I have 9 people on the phone or on the Zoom, because you guys care about your business, and I'm happy to talk about anything. I'll share with you that at the beginning of the year, was it the beginning of the year? I don't even know anymore. I remember thinking, oh God, how am I going to pay for my assistant? I was like, am I going to be able to afford to keep her? Oh my God. I was, with all these interest rates, the phone, everything was dead, and I'd call people and it was like, oh yeah, we're not doing anything. And there was about a 2-month period of time in there where I was like, okay, it's time to get serious. What can I cut? What expenses can I cut? Where can I, I was in a bit of a panic mode, to be honest, because, We all have things and lives that we have to pay for. That's the reality. So I got into a mode where I was like, I need to get back to basics. And I know that sounds so cliche, but can anyone share what they did to get back to basics, or anyone share a similar situation that they were maybe in this year or in now? Anyone read books?
I don't want to keep talking. We want to give.
You know what,
somebody
Mason?
else.
If you're the one talking, talk, because we all learn from you, and we learn from each other. So please
No.
share.
I want to say thank you for doing Shift, because I live by this book. If you see my book, it's full of coffee. Okay. We've done book club previously for this book at the office. I'm part of Pivot Shift, which is only focusing on Shift book online with Keller Williams International. I started really taking this seriously at the beginning of COVID, where we wanted to really reduce our expenses. We didn't know the price is gonna go crazy and we're gonna have a good business. The first month, we were all worried, where we gonna cut? Everything is closed. So it's very nice when you go into details. You don't know how much you pay for stupid small things, like bank statement fees, credit card fees,
Yeah.
subscription to apps that I didn't use, my kids didn't use. I probably saved in one sitting, like 1 hour, I saved $250 a month. I didn't know I was paying. So because you're busy, you're doing your work, you're in a momentum of business and all of that, you just ignore all your expenses and you say $5 here, 10 here, 20 here. I'm a good example. I didn't know there's so many apps we're not using. They're not important, subscription here and there. So yeah, cutting down your expenses, not out of fear, out of just be in control of your numbers and know your numbers.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can go back. You'll feel better because you feel
Oh, thank you. That's an amazing share. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's so critical to go through the exercise of what are your fixed costs and what are your variable costs. I did the same exercise. Ash, I'm going to get to you in 2 seconds. I did the same exercise when I was in panic mode years ago about, I was in a different job, but I was like literally panicking. And I realized, oh God, I don't even use that gym membership. How much is that a month? My cell bill, I called and said, can you get me on a better plan? Today's charges, Spotify, Netflix, Prime, like Amazon Prime. Do we need all these $10 a month charges? You'd be amazed if you do what Mason did and sit down and go through all your variable expenses. Even if you cut $100 a month, it can make a difference.
Yeah.
Ash?
Hi everyone. I just want to share a personal experience I did as well. I take two approaches. First, for reducing the expenses and invest in the resources I have. So reducing the expenses, I was able to reduce the insurance I pay for my property by $1,200 for 1 year by looking to change the insurance company, as well to switching to another carrier for the home internet. I reduce about $800, so it's able to reduce at least $2,000 for 1 year. On the other hand, I have a house with basement close to a conservation area and an open spa, but the business. I decided why I don't use this resource for investment. So I was able to finish a basement and rented as an Airbnb investment, and is doing so far so good for the first seven months, and even the outcome of this investment is better than the regular lease and rent. So it's almost double, or 1.7 out of the lease value. So it's a matter of look to what resources you have, how we can use it properly, and how can you improve your cash flow as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Thank you for sharing that, Ash. Yes, Rocco would like to add something.
You have to remember that if you buy a coffee for $1, it actually costs you $1.25, because you have to pay taxes on that money that you've earned to pay that $1.
It's a good point. That's a really good point. That's another exercise I forgot. I used to drink lattes from Starbucks back in the day when I was trying to watch my expenses, and I was like, wow, if you add up, you know what, they're probably like $4, and I don't drink them anymore, but they're like $4.50, right? If you have a couple of those a week and you add that up in a year, yeah, you're right. In order to yeah. Anything you buy, you know, add 50% if you're in that tax bracket, and that's what your cost is.
Coffee, I used to be spending $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year, not just for myself, but buying coffees for everybody.
Yeah.
You're running the business. Little things add up.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that's a really good point. When you're with a client in a listing or as speaking with a seller, and they ask you if you pay for staging, and they ask you how much is staging, I always quote my gross cost. My gross cost, if I'm paying $5,000 staging, my actual cost is 10 grand. I need to earn 10 grand to pay for $5,000 of staging, right? If you understand what I'm saying. So like I always say, like my business model is I invest about 20 grand in the sale of your home, approximately, right? Drone photography, you know. You also have to add in what is our hourly, what are we worth per hour? We have to add in our time. It can't just be, oh, here's my expenses and I'm for free. No, you're paying to get us, right? So I think that's really important to add in the fact that there's a lot of time that you spend in preparing and previewing properties to become the expert to sell their home.
Barb, on this note, if your
Yes.
seller tells you, I will get a stager, and there's other professional stagers that could be cheaper, and I will stage the property, how do you deal with that? Are you really letting the seller just stage it and call me when done?
If the seller says, I have my own stager,
yeah,
and they're going to pay for it,
yeah,
oh, perfect. I mean, usually when that happens, people say, well, you cut your commission if I pay for my own stager.
no, I would not.
That's usually what people say to me.
Yeah, so they're not related for me. That's what I say. It's like, this is my commission. I will include all of these. And if you want to get your own stager, you deal with them. But I'll have to come and, you know, see if this staging is good. Like, we got to market this place as it is, right?
So your business model is about quality control. And that's what you tell them, right? Like, I had a client, that listing appointment I was in yesterday, she said, well, I want your stager to come in before I choose an agent. And I said, well, it sounds like you're really choosing a stager, not really an agent. Like, it sounds like that's the most important thing to you. And she goes, well, I want to see how much yours is going to, you know, all these, if she suggests I paint and do all these things, I want to see how much the quote is compared to if I get my own team to do it. So now I know I'm dealing with a very price sensitive, cost conscious person. Probably not someone that
I enjoy working with.
yeah, like, you know, nickel and diamond here and there. And, you know, it's just it's a good exercise to really get into that. What's really important to you about that? You know, I will say that she told me she was interviewing 4 agents for the sale of her home. It's about a $2.5 to $3 million home. And I started my listing. She goes, well, I'm sure you have a listing presentation. So, okay, you start. And she figured that I would just go through whatever. And I just want to share with you, I started my listing presentation. I knew I had to slow her down. And I just said, you know, really, honestly, I just want to like talk about what's the most important thing to you in the process of selling your home? Because she was just all over the map and she didn't know. She had to stop and think about it. And you learn so much in that one sentence. She's like, well, I hate the fact that you guys don't sell real estate like they do in Australia because it costs, you know, $200 and I get, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it was just a very interesting question. I just wanted to share that with you. You'll learn so much what they say.
Exactly.
And just as a follow-up, my second question was, okay, so you told me that you're going to be interviewing a lot of agents. I said, I think that's great. I mean, got to do your due diligence. I said, what's the most important qualities you're looking for in choosing an agent? Those are my 2 questions I start with now in a listing presentation. And you just learn so much. And not that it's manipulation or anything when I say you tailor your presentation to what her needs are. You might not be a fit for this person. I still am not sure if I'm a fit for her. But at least you know what's important to her and you can take it from there.
Exactly. Read their mind.
Pardon me?
You know what's in their mind, you know, you read their mind, they will speak up.
Yeah. And people will tell you things, right? People want to talk. They want to tell you stuff for the most part. All right. Well, I'll ask the question. What was your favorite? What did we get out of this first part? What's your favorite? Maysoon, you might as well go.
No, I don't want to keep talking. Well, my favorite, just really reviewing, going through this. You did it in a very smooth way. Like if you look at the book, it's like 2-3 chapters. So you did it in like half an hour, and it's very right to the point. And the aha is always like when there's crisis, there's opportunities, and that's what I keep in mind always. There's no crisis. There's always opportunities. You just have to look for them.
And just so you know, I've read Shift as well, probably at least
Sometimes.
3 or 4 times actually. It's such a great reminder, and there's some, it's pretty simplistic, but it's so good because it just reiterates in your mind.
Very good.
Important, yeah.
I just dropped too much coffee on it.
I hear you. I think we know the answer that, you know, it's probably an important discussion is, do you believe that you can thrive in this market? And is there anybody, let me ask the question, is there anyone that believes that they can't thrive in this market? Okay, excellent. Everybody's positive. I love it. How actually can we thrive in this market then? Because I'll be honest, there are a lot of agents right now that are struggling financially, getting business. I've had phone calls from agents asking how can I be consistent? What did you do to be consistent?
Prioritizing. You have to have priorities for every day. You have to have a schedule, stick to that schedule. All what we learned throughout all the years, even if you're a new agent, if they look at all the details we go through, like training or books we have, it's always a reminder to, I don't know, now they're doing bold, like, you know, this is amazing. So stick to your schedule, have priorities, and do your calls, be in touch with people, keep talking to people. I don't think anyone would struggle if they do their work every day.
What do you tell people, Barb?
So I always ask them what their pillars of income are.
Yep.
I go back to what I learned at KW when I first started, and I'm like, what are your pillars of income? And some people look at you, or they're on the phone and they're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, what are your three main lead generation activities? And that is really where everybody needs to start. So my 3 are being consistent in my farm. It's my database and sphere of influence, and I'll give you an example for each one. And then the third one, where I built my business when I first started, was open houses, because I could convert buyers to work with me in those open houses, and I could convert sellers. Well, I mean, it took years to figure it out, but and converting sellers to work with me that would come in from the neighborhood. So, and it took years to get good at scripts and all those sort of things. But for my database, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to be of value every month. And this month we ordered fall home show tickets. And all we did was a mass email to our database that said, hey, would you and a guest like to go to the fall home show? Click this button for your free tickets. It cost me $40 for 100 tickets. And I've probably had 25 emails. It's a pretty good return for home show tickets. So they get a little package in the mail because we send it out right away. And it's, you know, like things like that you can do that are low cost. And then of course, with farming, people always say, well, it's too expensive to farm. Well, it's actually free. You going to a door doesn't cost you anything. Now, you don't want to go empty handed. You want to bring something with you, but it could just be a printout of a market watch report from last month. And you could highlight and then photocopy them and bring it with you and just say, hey, I'm just out here trying to be of value to my neighbors. Do you have any questions about the real estate market? Everybody has questions about the real estate market. People might just say, no, I don't, but you'd be shocked at how many conversations you get in. Now, a lot of people don't want to do geographical farming. That's fine. You can do networking. You can do cold calling. You go sit at Starbucks with a realtor.
Fundraisings. Yeah.
Community. Like the bold. Yeah, exactly. Community, like the bold thing or whatever. Like there's just so many different things you could do. Those are my 3 pillars of income. So I always go back to the agent that's called to ask, how do you be consistent? I show up every day, whether I have an appointment or not. I show up every day, whether I don't feel like working, but I show up every day. And I think it's just something that I learned a long time ago, actually from my dad. And he's like, you know, anyways, I won't get into that, but it's just something I learned a long time ago from a work ethic perspective, that if you don't have anything, it doesn't mean you don't go to work. It doesn't mean that you go to, you know, the freaking, what do you call it? What's the ride thing? I can't think right now. What's that place you go to with all the, Dan, help me out here.
CNE?
No, it's by the Bass Pro fishing place. Remember, I'm from Vancouver. So
Canada's Wonderland.
thank you. These names don't pop into my head easily. You know, like I talked to one agent and she's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Canada's Wonderland. I don't have any appointments today. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the perfect time to actually work on your business, in your business or whatever. Right. So I'm just saying that show up, and to Mason's point, you're not going to have an income problem. You just won't. It's impossible to have an income problem in this business if you show up every day and do stuff. I think it's just impossible not to, but the key is to be consistent. Any other questions on how we can thrive in this market? We want to talk about examples of things you can do for your clients. I'm happy to. I can share with you, I remember the Provenche brothers, they did a pumpkin drop. Okay, I tried to do that last year, but there was a pumpkin shortage. It was really expensive. And, you know, like, you just know that if you're going to do a pumpkin drop, it's going to take a long time. But hey, some people have lots of time. But there's all sorts of creative things that you can do. Dan, you do something in your community on your flyer, newsletter flyer thing.
Yeah, what I try to do is provide value to not only the neighborhood and in conversations and showing up and being there for them all and kind of being that person that everyone can lean on, but I also go around and talk to small businesses and promote the small businesses to all the neighborhoods and try to encourage people to shop local and check out this business or this business, and then turns around and the businesses love it because it's free advertising. I don't charge them for it. I do the design, I do the printing, I do the delivery. And, you know, then I get to keep in touch with them and I meet great trades and I meet great businesses. And hopefully one day that also comes around and spins back to me.
So I can promise you that it will. And these things take time. And I know a lot of people will say to, like, I had an agent say, well, I don't have time. You know, I have bills to pay, I have kids and all this, and I don't have time. I'm sorry, nothing in this world, like even, you know, rock stars, whatever, they didn't make it overnight. They were in their garage at the age of 16 playing a guitar. And when they hit 30, you know, they're making $30 million a show or whatever it is. Nobody ever just made it big overnight. And this business, I always say, it's 3 to 5 years of consistent activity. So Dan, it will pay off. You are top of mind with those people, and you will be remembered, and the business will flow. It just will.
And I also love it because some people will answer the door and they will say, no, I don't really want to talk about real estate. I'm like, oh, I just want to talk to you about some local businesses that you should promote. And then often that will get people to open the door and have a conversation with me. So
that's amazing. I love
I
it.
really have high respect for people who do door knocking. I never did it. And really, I respect you guys. You go door knocking.
Hey, Mason, you'd kill it if you did. And I just want to give you this one little bit. If Gary Keller said you own one street at a time, and I learned that at family reunion, and that took the pressure off me. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just door knock one street because I was terrified of it, right? But the next time you have a listing in a neighborhood, go to that street with one postcard just for that street, door knock it and say, I want to invite you personally to my open house. You'd be so shocked at how people want to actually talk and be like, oh, and friendly. And it's actually pretty amazing how it can work.
Yeah. For a listing, I could do it. But for people who do door knocking as they're farming, it's a lot for me. But yeah, but to your point, you have to know your pillars. So you have to know your, what happened to you? You disappeared.
I disappeared? Terrible. I dressed up today.
No, it disappeared on the screen. No, but I'm sure everybody here knows their database. So you have to know what to cater to your own clients. What works for me doesn't work for someone else. What works for... The only thing is just know what do they need from you. Why are they on your emails? Why do they speak to you? Why are they on your Facebook? So knowing the people, and I have the smallest database. It could be probably in the office, but everyone have been working with me and sending me clients. So my best advice for people who call me for new agents, I tell them, just focus on the small group and it will grow. So know your people very well.
Okay. That is an excellent point, and it brings me into something. You just jogged my memory about something. Know your people, and I'm just going to piggyback on this. Know who you are to your people.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about branding for a quick second. Branding is how people feel when they read your name. So if I'm not home and I come home and I get my flyer and it says Dan Campnella, Dan's my man to sell my house or whatever, I'm going to read that and I'm going to feel something when I read that piece of marketing. Or maybe it's Maysoon sending a mass email and somebody clicks it open and it's like, oh, there's Maysoon again. Oh my gosh, she's always of so much value. Oh, Dan, there he is promoting that coffee shop, wow, that's really unusual. A lot of realtors just tell me how much they sold the other home for over asking.
Yeah.
This is the real value in what we do, is thinking about our brand and how we make people feel. And there's never a more important time to brand yourself than now, because people are fearful. They're worried about their expenses. They've got kids and school and costs and, and the news is never good and inflation. So we need to sit down and go, how do I market to them? And I mean this in a genuine way, not a manipulation way. So
I
how can
100% agree. And,
Yeah.
People always talk that we are salespeople and we are in the sales business, but yes, we do sales, but we are marketers. At the end of the day, we do what we do, which is selling and buying and investing in real estate, but we are marketers. And if we don't get our name in front of people and our brand in front of people and get people to feel exactly how you said, Barb, then people won't use us. So,
Okay, so that's excellent. And thank you for saying that. And if you guys don't mind, I know we're teaching shift today, but I want to keep this conversation going because I think it's important. So I'm going to ask the question, what do people really want from us? From what is it that they want in the process of selling their home? Let's say they're motivated. So take that out of it. Let's say that they want to hire an agent.
they need to feel that you can get them exactly what they want. They need to feel that they need to trust you and know that there isn't a better decision out there than using you to get exactly what their goals are, whether it's a most amount of money, quickest sales, smoothest process, all of the above, whatever that is. They need to know that when they hire Dan Campanella, maybe Barb would have done better. You have to be able to eliminate that.
Excellent. Anybody else? So it's an interesting kind of a deep question, I know, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. Ash has got something. Ash?
I think they need to feel that we add value. And when we have a competition in the market, I think trust plus adding value plus what we make it different for them about taking care, put ourselves in their shoes. This is gonna make them building this trust and strong and hire us for this job.
Thank you. Excellent.
I think trust.
Rocco says trust.
Like when I used to sell, I used to have a promotion. I used to say, have no fear, Rocco's here.
Have no fear, Rocco's here.
So
I like it.
That's nice.
That's really good. Okay, so we are in an intangible position when we go to a listing appointment. They are hiring us without knowing if we are the best option, right, Dan? Like, if you actually think about it, we're going to a listing appointment. They don't know who we are. They only know our brand, or maybe we were referred to them. So we need to go into that appointment, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and they believe that we're the best person for them. And so I think that trust, you guys have hit the nail on the head. You need to have like unwavering confidence, unwavering. And how you have confidence is you over prepare for a meeting. Doesn't matter if it's a buyer or seller, you come with the market stats. And, somebody said to me yesterday in my listing appointment was something like, I don't know, I can't even remember the question or the comment. I just said, I've been negotiating since I was 6 years old to get that ice cream cone. Like I'm a damn good negotiator. But if you think about it, we've really been negotiating all our lives. But you know, we've spent how many years honing our skills and going to training classes and, you know, all the mandatory courses that we take. Like if we actually stop and think about all the things we do to become the expert, don't be afraid to share that. Like you've been honing your skills for a long time. And that's why you're the best for them. And I'll just add what I say in a meeting. I'm like, yesterday I said this. I said, you know, I'm not a big team. I'm quality over quantity. You're never going to see a postcard that says, I sold 80 homes in the beach this year, because guess what? They don't care. They want to know how you're going to answer their questions before they go to sleep at night, worried, sick about paying for whatnot. So how are you going to be able to net them the most amount of money, trust you, like you, know that you're confident, all those things. There's a lot that goes into it, but when you come into it so over prepared and so confident, it's kind of hard to say no. Like you just blew them away. Like that's what you have to do. You have to give them that wow experience. Like I don't even want to interview anyone else other than Dan. He's my man, right? Like I'm good. And when they feel that, so I'm going to keep coming back to it. And I want to let you know, I did read a book. So I'm very passionate about this. How, if we can get our clients to feel, you will get the listing. You will get them as a client. They need to feel something from you. Misinformation and fear are rampant. All you have to do is turn on CP24. Oh, sales are down. Prices are this. Like people aren't moving. People. What was the other one? Oh, condo prices are down 40% because investors are dumping them. They can't afford it. All this like headline grab stuff, right? It just drives me insane. The one thing is transactions are fewer. There are less buyers in the market. And you just need to understand with your clients how to communicate that. And transactions are fewer because affordability is less at the end of the day. Affordability is really the factor here. Oh. So as we know, we can't control the market, but we can control our mindset and what we do in the market. The market doesn't determine your success. It determines your strategy. And we talked about that. It's so true. There's, like I said, so many agents that are, oh, I'm just going to I'll just take some time off until this all kind of goes away, or they kind of hide because they freak out. This is actually the time to take market share. Anyone agree, disagree? And I don't know. I just think this is the time. People hire the people out there hustling right now.
Yeah.
Apparently there's going to be a bunch of agents leaving. I can't remember where I read that, but when there's less income to be had in a profession, people leave. And with transactions down, like everybody's niece, nephew, aunt, and uncle got their real estate license in COVID, and oh my God, they sold a home or they sold 3 homes and they couldn't believe it. Now they're sitting there. Wow, I thought this was easy. Nope.
That's what happened with the hospitality sector as well when COVID hit, and they haven't come back, and restaurants are still struggling to hire servers now and whatnot, as opposed to 5 years ago when it was thriving and it was so hard to get a job at a restaurant.
No, that's an excellent point. Thank you. So true. And then they're just saying, you know, basically like the language that you use matters. I think this is good. You know, normal market. We don't talk about crash. We talk about, you know, a correction. And then threat versus opportunity. There are 3 types of people, those that are unnecessarily pessimistic, stay away from them. Those who hopefully wish for the best, believe they can't fail and are unrealistically positive. That's me. And third, those who respect the fact that they might fail, actively prepare for the worst, and strive for the best. Resourcefully realistic. That's where you want to be. Yeah, I always tell people in a listing appointment, because I sometimes I can't help myself. I always say I have an enthusiasm problem. But anyways, I think it's better to be that than the first type. So I mentioned before, we want to educate and know the market we're in, but prepare for the market that's coming. Growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. So we've kind of talked about this, about knowing the local market trends. It's so key to know, like I said, Jason Friesen's presentation on stats. Oh, it's like if you can know everything you need to know with his stuff. Know your business trends, how they match the market, and try to control the media spin as much as possible. The media doesn't really understand real estate, which is why they always keep reporting on sales numbers instead of, like, when we were in the hot market, they would never really talk about price or, but then when they would talk about sales being down, but they didn't say that listings were down. That's why there's not as many sales, but our prices are still higher year over year. Now they want to talk about, oh, condo prices are down 40% because this and that. They choose which headline they want. So just know that and understand so that you can tell your clients about the headlines. I have a lot of older clients that don't really quite, they're like, oh, I heard this. Know how to answer it. So we want to commit to self-mastery. That's knowing all your numbers and the area that you're selling in and buying in. Do the 80% of, spend your time that is going to give you the most, whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about, the 80-20 rule. Jen, help me out here. So
Well, yeah,
80% of
so-
the time, what are you
yes.
doing 80% of the time?
Yeah, well, not what I should be.
She said, not what I should be. You guys know that it pays the bills if you spend your time and your strengths and what you should be doing, which is lead gen and revenue generating activities. Okay. Oh God, I can't even read this slide. Okay, well, you guys are all really smart on the phone, and everybody here is of a growth mindset, so I don't really need to go too much into that. So there are opportunities, to Mason's point about in down markets, we want to charge the storm, be the buffalo. That's a reference to a book that you can buy. I read it. It's literally this small little book. I think a realtor wrote it. I can't remember, but if you need a little pick me up, it'll take like a couple hours, an hour or two to read. Gain market share during a shift. You absolutely can gain market share in a shift. I just want to say that because people right now, they want to hire the expert. They don't want to hire the nephew's, uncle's, cousin's, brother's wife. They want to be sure that they're going to be represented from someone that knows what they're doing, because this market is what it is right now. It's a huge opportunity for realtors right now. Oh, this is what I was talking about before. The available income in a market determines the number of agents in that market. When there's an income increase, you guys remember in whenever COVID was, 2020, was it?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody and their dog was buying cottages and secondary properties, and the transactions went through the roof more so than any other year, 20 years. And everybody thought they'd get their license because, right, it's easy what we do. And then agents increased to 80,000, I think, in the GTA. Was it 80,000, I think? 96,000 including the golden, the horseshoe and all that sort of thing. It's a lot of agents. I heard once that we have the highest number of agents per capita in North America, second to Long Island, New York. Don't know if that stat's still true, but I did read that somewhere. That's a lot of agents per person. I think there's one agent for every 16 people in the GTA. But we also know that 50% of them do one or less transactions a year. So when income decreases, so we've gone from the second number of lowest transactions, I think, in the GTA. I think it's the second lowest. So you know that the income pie has decreased if transactions have decreased, and therefore agents will decrease. So this is an opportunity because you guys are all on the line here and care about your success, which I love. So it's opportunity time. So you want to hold your number steady and your market share will grow. Maysoon, can you talk to this slide for me? I just have to take a drink.
Oh, I hate slides. Okay, it's opportunity time. Yeah, keep working, hold your numbers steady. I'm gonna read it. And then you're gonna see your opportunities gonna grow. That's how I analyze it. Right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have an activity, and I'm really sorry, I don't know what it is, but let's talk about this in terms of what can we do to get more business. So Jen said something really important, if you don't mind. Do I have permission to ask you what you meant by I'm not doing what I should be doing?
Right. So in this market, let's say business has dropped in half, we should be doubling up our lead generation. So if you were making 5, contacts a day 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you should be doing 10 a day now.
Right. So we need
Double up.
to add more to get the same, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. We have to work twice as
Right.
hard to get the same.
So what are some creative ideas? This is for everybody. What are some creative ideas that we can do? Like, we're going to leave this call today. Some of you may have appointments and some of you may not. But how can we leave today with kind of an action plan of something that we could do that we're not doing? And I'll just jump in the example that I got an email about the fall home show tickets. I don't know if you were here. And I ordered 100. Were you here for that?
No.
So there's something you could do. You could make phone calls and say, would you like to go to the fall home show? It's September 29th to October 1st. I'd like to send you and a guest for free. There's something.
Yeah.
What else could we do?
This time of the year, I think there's a lot we can do. Home show is great. And this touching base about how everyone's summer was.
Okay.
Kind of like I do in January.
How was your summer
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
back
yeah.
to?
Yeah.
Dan?
I was just gonna say it's simple. Pick up the phone and call at least 5 people a day.
I love that.
Start with 3 people. Call 3 people a day, and when 3 people a day becomes easy, call 5 people a day.
Right. Now, I don't know where you got that, but I remember I wrote that down years ago. I don't know
I stole your diary.
What's that?
I stole your diary.
You're funny. I wrote that down somewhere. It was 3 people a day. And I can't remember where I got this. I'm like, when you give yourself small goals like that, all you have to do is call 3 people a day. Wow. That's easy, right? 3 people. And the other thing I just want to say is if we stop and actually put our jobs into perspective, I worked in the corporate world. I used to have to be at the office at 7:30 a.m. for optics. And I wasn't allowed to really leave until 5:30 for optics because, I was in my boss was like, well, you should be here at 7:30 and always leave after the last person, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I was in jail for 15 years and didn't know it. Then I come to real estate and I'm like, I only have to call 3 people a day and maybe work 2 hours a day and lead gen. Because if you spend 2 hours a day consistently lead genning 5 days a week, I'm talking 2 hours. I used to work 10 hours a day. If you do 2 hours a day, you will have more clients and more business than you know what to do with, and you'll have to hire people. And that is a promise. If you just were consistent 2 hours a day, it's true. Let's talk about another creative idea. So we've got fall home show tickets. October is coming up. Halloween is coming up. What if you ran a Halloween contest costume for your clients' kids? Send in a photo to Dan Campnella's, newsletter. Or sorry, you'll be published in the newsletter, the winner, and you'll win something from a local business in the area. Send us the costume photo. What else can we do that's creative that touches base with people?
I do a pumpkin drop. I actually fill my station wagon up with as many pumpkins as I'll fit, and then I go and drop it off to.
Do you door knock?
I don't door knock. I actually go to past clients.
And do you put a card with it?
Yeah. I have like a little happy hauntings or something like that. I've been doing that for years and years.
Okay, so Jen does a pumpkin drop. You could write a little poem like, what rhymes with pumpkin? Help me out here.
Orange, you glad we're friends?
What's that?
Orange, you glad we're friends?
Yeah, orange, you glad we're friends. Or if you need to hang on.
Haunted house, I can sell it.
Yeah, is your house haunted? Yeah.
Time to move.
I won't tell anyone. I'll sell it. No, that's bad. Anyways, you guys get my drift when you do a Popeye you know, put up something little fun, like,
Call when you want to sell your house.
Ah.
who are you gonna what?
Who are you gonna call?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Who are you gonna call?
Well,
Uncle
I can give you an
Buster.
idea.
What's that?
I can give an idea. It worked with me before, and I keep repeating it every couple of years. So for people who are working around their own community or church or whatever, like you have a club, you do, you could hire a photographer and take photos for these beautiful kids when they're in their costume and what they're playing. Playing. They do games in the community, and then later on you send it to them printed. I know everybody have photo, and they have phones and they take pictures, but they still, I know from 1 or 2 times I did this, and people were very happy to receive printed photos sent to their house. First, most of the times when you go to the church, you know everybody's name and phone number, emails, but you don't know their address most of the times, unless they're friends. So this is also a good way to get to know where they live, exactly, so they will receive that picture. And I do this for all people who are new in the country. They came, let's say, a year or 2 years ago, and they keep coming back to the community.
That's
So
an
just an idea.
excellent idea. That's a great idea. What a fun idea.
Yeah.
And not real estate related, and just being of value, being a good person.
Yeah, there's lots of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think Canada's Wonderland does a thing called the Scaries or something. You can
Yeah.
do win 4 tickets, win a family. I can't speak today. Win a family pack to whatever it's called, the Scaries. And Casa Loma does something. I've been to the Casa Loma one, phenomenal. Scared the bejeebers out of me, and I'm an adult. So anyways, that's a good one too. It's expensive, but a family that got 4 tickets to that, do a draw, do a contest. I don't know. Just anyway.
And Thanksgiving's coming up as well. We can do a lot of tie-ins. Maybe
Pumpkin
even a
pie.
food drive.
A food drive. That's an excellent idea. You could do something. You don't have to, it doesn't always have to be giving something to somebody. You could say, look, I'm trying to be of value to our community. I'd love to do a food drive for Thanksgiving. We're in need right now in this area. We're serving Community Center 55 or whichever one it is. I'm going to be coming by at this day or whatever. I've seen that happen. It's very successful. The other thing you can do to get people to come to your open house, I read this in a book, is you go door to door with have a postcard. If someone's not home, leave it there and say, if you come to my open house from 2 to 4, I'm actually also doing a food drive. You can bring a can and drop it at the front door. It'll go to, families in need. And people love that because they love to give back as well. Last but not least, I did a clothing drive during COVID when all the bins were locked. And actually it was because Jamie Lee had said that she had a place to drop these coats off to because all the bins were. Oh my God, I've never been so busy in my life picking up coats.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. The other idea I want to give you too, because winter's coming up. So these are all just things, food for thought of how you can be of value, is there's people in your community that can't shovel the snow off their walk. Tell them that you'll arrange for that to happen. Whether you pay someone, do it yourself. Usually only get 2 or 3 requests. I always send my husband, sorry, you got to go shovel this lady's walk. Well, the government doesn't do that.
No, you apply.
Oh.
For winter.
Yeah, no, we don't want the government involved with our marketing.
And send your husband.
We'll send Rocco. Rocco has no fear. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to throw out ideas here, just to show the kind of person that you are, that you care about your community. Okay, sorry, I kind of went off track, but I'm trying to when you leave here today, I want you to feel confident about strategies that you can take to the field. So what must be done right and what must be done now? So we've kind of talked about getting back to basics. We just finished having a conversation about creative lead gen ideas, and knowing your 3 pillars of income, conversion rates, change, and a shift. Does anyone know what that means? I think it's a kind of an important point. We're not going to get every listing. We're not going to get every buyer in a shift. It's kind of an interesting time. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, I think it's to Jen's point. If you only ever had to go on 5 listing appointments to get 4 listings, now you have to go on 10 appointments to get 5 listings, or maybe that's not the right conversion, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Take listing appointments whenever you can get them, referrals, whatever. Understand your market forces. So we talked about supply and demand, and most of the people feel like we're in a balanced market. Technically speaking, we're actually in a seller's market because we don't have 5 months of inventory, but in certain situations and certain properties, it's balanced. I know that's tricky, but that's where knowing your numbers in your area really comes into importance. So tracking your numbers, I think this is a good year to actually do a deep dive in your business and how many active listings, how many new listings, how many sold but not closed, and how many closings, and just kind of tracking everything. I know James Benson does a social media, or he does the metrics on his listings, and he can take it to his clients and show how many impressions his listing has had to just really show, like, hey, to talk about that price reduction you need to get. So if you're in those conversations, you need to know the numbers to get the price reduction. Average days on market, average price, number of price reduction. The other thing that's really key, I think, to know, and we talked about this earlier, is really, and Dan, I know you track this, is how many cancel and relists there are. How many times have you seen a house listed in East York for $999, expecting 1.3, and the offers were only 1.2, and then it gets listed for 1.299? That's probably happening a lot out there. Track those, because when you go to a listing appointment, sometimes a bird in hand is better. Work with that 1.2 number. Do whatever you can to kind of, if it's a firm offer, anyways, digress. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. I thought someone said something. So again, just reiterating, be the market expert. Now more than ever.
Excuse me. What you just said, when the property's for sale, it doesn't sell, so they relisted. This Friday, number 11 Victor Avenue will be relisted. Just to let you know that.
Oh, okay.
It's a good property, number 11 Victor Avenue. It's not my listing.
That's for,
It's not my listing, just that something's coming up really important.
Oh.
So they're not getting, so I find that they lower the price, try to get a bidding war, and they're not getting the bid anymore. So now they relist for a higher price. That's what I'm finding for a lot.
Yep, that's a cancel and relist, and it's happening all over the place right now. Okay, so now we've kind of talked a little bit about really looking at your, expenses and things like that. I want to make sure I'm in the right module. So I think I am. Yeah, I thought we were talking about cutting expenses now, Carlos, but we'll go over this. So basically this is just an activity to evaluate where you're at. Basically, are you lead generating every day? How can we better qualify people? Converting motivated leads, practicing conversations daily. Is anybody doing scripts and dialogues and role play? So key, right? So key. What would be, since we're doing this, instead of just reading out a slide, what would be a script that would be handy right now to have that we could brainstorm in this market? Like, what's a question that comes up over and over that you want to be prepared to answer? Take a minute to think about that one. I know we already talked about, should I sell my home now or should I wait? We already talked about that. What's another? Is there any other objections coming up right now that you can think of?
Where to move.
That comes down to motivation, where to move. We can't help somebody decide where they're going to move, right? Like if somebody says to you, well, where am I going to move? I don't know. Where do you want to move? That's what I'd say. No, because they need to know where they're going to move. I'm like, why would they ask me where they want to move? Like,
Because people come to knock on my door. listed property. And I say, well, if I sell the property, where do I move?
Well, right, you have no motivation to move, so you're not gonna sell your property. I'm not gonna sit there and go, you know what, let's get you to Collingwood, Rocco, out of your house, I need a listing.
Okay, let's go.
You know, like, you can't talk someone, like, it's,
Mm.
you're not selling someone to move, it's, you're asking them if they're motivated to move.
But because there's so much anxiety out there, everybody's worried to make a decision, and they want you to be there for them to make the decision. Like, your job is to help them make the decision. But that's what I feel with every conversation. You feel like people keep asking to a point where they want you to tell them what should they do. They're worried to make the right decision for themselves. So
right. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And that's again where we come back to, if you're working with a buyer, show them those times where there were shifts in the market, whether it be a correction or interest rate hike or inflation or land transfer tax. And like the land transfer tax blip was 6 months and everybody got back to normal, but it died. The market died for like 6 to 8 months. And then it was like, okay, well, it is what it is. People forget and they go on. So yeah, they're looking for us to be the guide and the consultant to help them, and just going back and showing them the graph of what happens in the past and what's going to happen in the future. And it's short-term pain for long-term gain. Yes, like if you can afford to make these payments for 1 or 2 years and you go on a fixed rate for 1 year, and then maybe the rates will go down, and try to help them, you know, put them with a mortgage broker, all those sort of things to help them, guide them to make the best decision. Because we all know what's going to happen here. If we look at the fundamentals in Toronto with, you know, it's a world-class city, right? We've got 500,000 people moving to Canada for the next couple of years. So and we have a supply, we have an inventory, a housing shortage, like all these fundamentals, like, you know, we really have to look at that. It's,
I think it would be a really good idea for those who don't have a tight relationship with a mortgage broker, is to go out and have lunch or coffee with them, because I think a lot of people are just, they're staying put, they're not doing anything, because they I don't know, they have so many questions about financing now, maybe more so. And then you can have these quick little conversations when you're door knocking, like, oh, did you know you could do a 6 month, or, you know, just a little bit of education on,
I think that's an excellent idea.
that. And also, whenever I've had coffee with a mortgage broker, sometimes you can see, like, if they're getting a lot of refiles, like they kind of see that before it trickles down to the real estate side of it, just to get an idea of what's to come.
I think that's a really good idea. You know, I want to learn as much as I can too about this environment that we're mortgage climate we're in. And I had Jason Friesen come in and talk to my team. I had a team meeting with him. I think that's a really good idea, is to really understand what's going on in the mortgage world right now. There's still some products out there in the mortgage world that can help people that need to buy, and he's very creative as well.
I think on top of that as well, like, that is fantastic idea, 100%. But you should have a mortgage broker that you get along really well with, that you can call for questions all the time. So go and have that coffee, really get to know one mortgage broker really well. So you can call, I call people all the time, be like, hey, someone's coming, a buyer agent is telling me this about their finance condition. Is this real? Or, you know, whatever the mortgage questions are out there. There's 1,000 questions that come up on a daily basis. And if you have a good network, then that could really be your advantage.
That is an excellent point. Excellent point. And also, just to piggyback on that, have a lawyer on speed dial, because lawyers are really, really hard to get a hold of. And if you get a lawyer that you click with and you connect with, and you can make that call or send a text and just be like, hey, can you help me with something? Man, does it ever make a world of difference. World of difference. So we know that this is a way of life, a market shift. And when it shifts, new strategies are required. We've talked about being reactive and proactive. And we've talked about some creative ideas. When markets shift down, only proactive works. What's an example of reactive lead gen? I guess open houses, waiting for someone to call you. Hope is not a strategy. It's my favorite line. I read that. I think my old boss from a long time ago told me that. I said, well, I hope that I hit this number. He goes, hope is not a strategy. And I'll never forget that. He yelled at me and I'm like, okay. So yeah, hope's not a strategy. You need an actual plan. So in a downshift, it's all hands on deck. Show up every day. So the issue is not so much the shift, but how long the lag continues before equilibrium is hit. In our case here in Canada, you know, it's how long before the interest rates start coming down or stay or hold. I already did that one. I already did that slide.
I think we're back.
Not everyone will, but everybody can. That's what I love about this. That's what I love about this industry that we're in. You know, we really do have the luxury of choice about how we spend our day and what we do with our time. And that's what's really cool about this job. You can work like a fiend if you want. But you know, you can also schedule in balance, and I make that a priority. Otherwise I'll go crazy. But we do have the choice, and that's the beauty of this. You know, I love Tanya's story. Tanya, are you still on the line? That's too bad. She has such a beautiful story.
When I was in Sunday, that's why I changed.
And the choice to who you want to work with.
Yes, and when you get to the point in your career when you can say, you know what, I'm not going to let this person treat me this way, and thank you, but no thank you. And then you tell them that if their house is worth $2 million, you say, yeah, I think it's only worth 1.6. Yeah. I don't know. Or if you list it for 1,499, I'll take the listing. Sorry, Rocco, you said something?
This is the main reason why, another point, the main reason why I switched careers, not just because I was too honest, because it was a 24-hour day job. I used to come home 1, 2 o'clock in the morning from office, right? And I used to work every freaking day. Open houses, do this and do that. And then when it came to the listings, like you just said, where the owner wants to overprice, I can't say no because I'm going to lose that price. Because everybody was asking on that higher price.
Yeah.
So, you know, people say that I set my own schedule in this business. No, it's not true. You got to work for the customers.
You get to a point, you'll get to a point where you can
say no.
You can choose. It takes time. It's like if you were starting up a pet rock business. It's going to take 5 years for you to get traction.
Go on holiday. I come back from holiday. My brother's just listed his house with another person. It's an example.
Well, that's your brother's problem and sounds like a jerk.
Well, it's not, that didn't really happen. It's the things like that do happen.
Yeah, they do. And this business is very different because it's not business to business.
I think it's good.
It's what it is it's emotional. It's an emotional business, and it's a really, really hard job, but it has incredibly gratifying and rewarding results when you help people through the most stressful transaction of their life. What do we got now? Oh, remargin your business. They got me to teach about cutting expenses. I love spending. It's actually the truth, but you know, I have looked at my expenses. So when markets shift, the first thanks, Jen. When markets shift, the first change a business must make is to re-expense itself. Revenuing your way out of a shift is iffy at best. So project your income based on your market, examine your expenses to identify areas to cut, and protect your margin with a realistic budget. So in all seriousness, yes, you know, I do spend money on what do you call it? Like promo items, like, you know, I did Live Your Best Life hats, right? I do stuff like that. But in a year like this, when you're not sure what's happening and, you know, the market shifted, you really got to take a look at those sort of things. Anyone who expects change to be comfortable hasn't been challenged enough. Oh, I love that. Check up from the neck up. So we are going to be financially awake and alert. We're going to look at our 3 pillars of income and see where we're at. And we're going to be accountable to every dollar that you spend. If you really want to be budget conscious. So we've already talked, we went over this slide already. God, I can't read that slide.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Anyways, basically what they're saying is, you know, you need to be accountable to the dollars that you're spending. And we're going to get into that. You don't get to decide what the market will do, but you definitely get to decide what you will do. Okay. What's going on here? This is not. Remember.
Sorry to interrupt really quick.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge we have 21 people on the call, plus the people in the room. So thank you for joining. I just posted on the chat the participants guide for strategy 1 and strategy 2. We're now on strategy 2. If you guys want to download the PDF files that I posted, you can go along your participant guides as Barb goes through these slides. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. The
Thank you,
number
Carlos.
one determinant. Sorry, Masoon.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Carlos.
Okay. The number one determinant of surviving is expense management. So, I mean, we really need to watch this in the next 6 months. Determine your margin, cut the fat, and protect your margin. So how do you determine your margin? So you guys all probably have a pipeline, which is a list of potential buyers and sellers that you're, okay, do you do that by the month? Like, okay, what do I have in October? What do I have in November? What do I have in December? We all know that what you do today will pay you in 90 days typically, right? So you need to look at your pipeline and then you need to give it a rating. So I usually like to, rate like the likelihood of this happening. You might have somebody, an uncle or whatever that says, yeah, I'm listing my home with you on October 2nd. Okay, so that one's going to happen. So calculate the pipeline. Then you're going to determine the expenses. And then you just kind of want to find out where you're sitting at and do this to Mason's point in your personal life. It's not just, determining your expenses at work. You need to really look at what you're spending that you don't need to spend every month. So this is a case study. Emilio, he's a solo agent with no assistant, utilizes a transaction management service for each transaction. He rents office space in the market center, has a small immediate family, and he owns a dog. I like him already. Okay. Can you help me out with this one? Okay, so that's his case study. What's the projected income from closed transactions? What will be the average monthly income based on a 60-day projection? Why don't we do a real life scenario? Does anybody know what their projected income, does anyone know how many closings are in the pipeline for the next 2 months that they have? Maysoon, do you have any?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead then.
Go ahead, Dan. So how many closings in their pipeline for the next 2 months?
3.
And what's the projected income from closed transactions?
92,000.
And what will be the average monthly income based on a 60-day projection?
Average monthly. Ugh.
I'm not really sure I understand that last one, but so okay, let's get to the point of what
the next slide.
Yeah.
Probably divide them to 3 if it's 90 days.
Yeah. So basically, okay, so thanks, Dan, for sharing and congratulations. That's nice. Emilio wants your job. So basically what he's saying is his expenses are 10,600 and his personal expenses and his business expenses are 4,850. And those are all his expenses. His projected average monthly income is 15,750. It leaves him a margin of $300. Yay. Cut the fat, lower personal expenses. Go walk your dog on your own. Hey, he's got $250 a month walking, dog walking, lower personal expenses, lower business expenses. So with a partner, write down personal expense items for each category. A is you have to have. So I like to say these are your fixed expenses. B is nice to have, personal dining or takeout. And then C can live without. We kind of already talked about that. Do you need Netflix? Do you need Spotify? How many nights can you make dinner versus ordering from Uber Eats? I'm like the perfect person to do this exercise. I need to stop ordering from Uber Eats and buying more groceries. And then what are your fixed? Does this expense generate a lead or close a transaction? These are questions to ask yourself. If this is a must, nice to have, or can live without expense. So from a business perspective, always ask, does this generate a lead or close a transaction? So essential to have is performing lead gen. So that's an absolute. Yes, I believe in coaching and training as an investment. What's a nice to have? Office-based print advertising, and then can live without vendor contracts. So, I mean, office space, you know, maybe that's where you do your best work and where you go to focus. So really look at those. A realistic budget is the only way to protect your margin. Think of what you spend as investments. It's about an opportunity with your expenses, not an obligation. Practice accountability, not accounting. Don't think of accounting as obligation. Use your budget to hold yourself accountable. So, you know, if you're thinking about lead gen, and I'll never forget the example that an agent told me when he first got licensed. He got his real estate photo on a park bench and a bus, side of a bus or the back of a bus or something. Nobody knew who he was. And, you know, I just think it's so interesting. He thought that was going to work. I mean, I guess you don't know what you don't know when you first become. But if you're a new agent and you're spending money on branding or self-promotion, you really need to think about, is this going to lead to, is this, you know, it's an opportunity with your expenses. Is this going to lead to, you know, business or not? Or what's the likelihood of it? Like a billboard, for example. Nobody can really measure whether you get sales from a billboard unless somebody says, hey, I saw your billboard. It doesn't work that way. Those kind of advertising things work in conjunction with a number of things. Postcards, signs in the area, mailers, you know, all that kind of stuff. They all kind of go hand in hand. It's really just kind of social proof that you exist and that you're there.
Lead with revenue. Remember Dan Corcoran?
Oh yeah, lead with revenue. Yeah. I always like to say to people on my team, what do you got? What do you got this morning? And then I'll say, are they revenue generating activities? It's my favorite question. Because we can be busy on MLS searching for properties. We can go preview properties. These are all things that we have to do and should do and all those sort of things. But eat the frog in the morning, do the hard stuff. And you want to do your lead gen when you've got the energy. And 99% of the people, it's between 9 and noon, if we're really honest. Because we find so many things to do during the day and issues come up. Common budgeting traps: spending more than you make, spending all you make. And I'll say another thing. Another agent called me. Maximizing credit. Living paycheck to paycheck and no room on the credit card. It's a tough spot to be in. Do everything you can not to. Somebody once told me that if you can't pay your Visa card off every single month, don't buy it. And it's the truth, because who wants to pay 18% interest rate anyway? And also, just one thing is never spend your money before the deal closes. Just going to give you that hint. I'm sure you probably don't, but don't do it. Lots can happen before the closing. And also, I think it's just creating good karma for yourself. Remargin Emilio's business. Okay, what are we doing? We're going to cut out some things. Oh, well, we could go back and we could do it, but I'm sure you guys get the exercise, right? He doesn't need Spotify. He's going to walk his dog on his own. There, we gained him another $1,000 a month. Sorry?
The dog that loves him.
Exactly. You want to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. I love that. I think it's awesome. Did anyone get anything from the expense part that they may actually implement? I want to hear from you if you have. I know it's not the most riveting topic. Go ahead.
I just texted my wife and asked her to cancel subscription to some app we have. Just save myself 80 US a month. Boom.
See, I love this. You know what, Dan? Thank you for showing up today for your family, for yourself, for us, because this is what this stuff is all about. You just saved yourself 80 US. That's $100 a month Canadian.
Don't forget to put money aside for tax.
Thank you. HST. Get that HST stuff
Yeah.
removed. Get the office to
Another
remove it.
account, as soon as that commission check comes in, move it.
You know, and I know this is kind of personal, but I'm just going to say it because I actually learned a lot about from when I moved to Toronto. I met a lady at the bank, and she actually became my financial mentor. I didn't know what I didn't know because I didn't have anybody in my life to kind of help me with that. But she set me up on tax-free savings account. Well, later when that became available, do you guys know that it's everybody needs to have a tax-free savings account because you can grow your nest egg in there, take it out tax-free. It's one of the only investment vehicles that the government allows us that's tax-free. And you could use it to buy a property, use it for a rainy day. I think the maximum allowable contribution is $6,000. It changes every year from 5 to 6,000, but it is retroactive, meaning if you don't have a tax-free savings account right now, you go put 100 grand into it. Whatever the number is times 5, like how many years it's been available. So say it's just been available for 10 years and it's 5 grand. There you go. 10 times $5,000. You can go put that in a tax-free savings account today. Love it. And it just grows and you don't touch it and you can't withdraw it from your online banking. You have to go into the bank. So that's why it grows and you don't touch it. Otherwise I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go buy this. I can't. Okay, you want to keep track of everything. You want to hold those expenses accountable for return on investment, and you want to stick to a budget. So these are when you can download this and you can actually do this exercise for yourself and create an action plan. I think it's such a great exercise to go through that. What are my business expenses and what are my personal expenses, and hold them accountable for the return. And if you're spending, what's an example of something that people spend a month in real estate? Most people are on command, but some people pay for top producer or something like that. That's an example. Get rid of that. Use command. Carlos is in the room, just giving him a plug. What else could you do in what else do people pay in real estate per month? I'm just trying to think out loud. Or
Expensive costs.
no, I'm talking about like a business expense.
Leverage.
I don't know, flyers, mailers, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm rambling. Okay. The key to remargining and changing your budget is changing the way you think. Challenge everything and make nothing sacred. Find your margin fast. Protect your profit and prepare for the market ahead. We just said that. Okay. We did this. Okay. So now we can just have a conversation about anything you guys want to talk about, because both of these modules are over. But I want to make sure that you leave feeling confident about mindset and your business in this shift.
Barb, quickly, I have to head out, but I just want to thank you. Even just being in your presence, I really am grateful for it, because you've put in work and you just have that energy level that kind of gives me, who's kind of a beginner, I'm losing motivation because it's so hard to start from scratch right now, especially with this market and so many competent, established individuals like yourself and Dan and everyone else in this room probably. So thank you again for your time.
Oh, thank you for showing up, Amelia. It means you're going to be successful because you're here.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks.
Thank
Is
you
there
so
any
much.
is there any other questions that, anything that comes up in appointments that you might want to talk about, any objections? Basically, we can do a quick brainstorm before everybody leaves. If you have to leave, no problem. Just wondering if anyone wants to brainstorm anything right now. I'm trying to think. We covered a lot. Covered a lot. Oh, Ash.
Barb, I'd like to thank you so much for the effort you put in this course. And I have a quick question. I listed that being closed as a seller rep in one of the area. It's not my city. It's not my farming area. So how can I invest in this opportunity to bring more leads out of this area? Does the listing been sold over the asking price? Sold the firm, seller happy, but it's most of the community are Chinese community. So
Okay, so you're just so I have this right. You've sold a home and it's in an area that's not your farm, and you're wondering how you can get more leads from it.
yes, exactly.
And did you say you sold it for over asking?
Yes,
How many offers did you have?
I have one offer, and it came firm over asking. We have one offer was less than the asking price, so we raised it and we get what we are asking more.
You had a
more.
lot of showings though, right?
Yeah, the one was shown.
You had a lot of showings. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to write a letter and you're going to say, what's the name of the neighborhood? We'll pretend it's the beach. Dear beach neighbor, I just listed 123 Main Street, and due to the high demand of this house, we had 50 showings. We sold it over asking. And the purpose of my letter is to let you know that there is high demand to live on your street or your neighborhood. We have a number of buyers that missed out on the opportunity to buy this house and live on the street. If you've thought about a move in the near future, please give me a call and we can talk about a win-win scenario for everybody. Something like that. So then you want to drop those letters off in the mailbox. I would door knock with those letters. If nobody's home, you put it in the mailbox, and then you're going to follow that up with a postcard about what you just sold. And that if somebody would like a free home evaluation, and that there's buyer demand in the area, and you're the guy to call.
Thank you so much for the host.
You can email me and I'll send you the letter that I use.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much. That's extra help. I
One more thing. One more thing, Ash. You could
Yes.
translate it to Chinese to get to know what's Mandarin, what's the language. Translate it and add it there, and find someone who speaks the language and team up.
Oh, that is an extra idea as well.
Put it in AI chatbot or whatever you call those things.
Oh yeah, GPT,
then-
yes.
That's an excellent idea. I love it, Mason. It's
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one side put that, and then on the other, and then ask KW Advantage if there's anybody that speaks Mandarin or Cantonese, so that when you get those calls, you can partner with that person or pay them a referral fee to help you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. That's excellent tips. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, you're so welcome. That's a great question. Does anyone else have any questions like that? We're here to help. So share creative ideas. Love it. Great question, Ash. Okay. I think we're good. I want to thank you guys very much for showing up. When I was told one person had registered, it was a couple of days ago. I was like, well, I'm going to give that one person a heck of a good couple of hours. So thank you guys so much for caring about your success and showing up today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you for your time, Barb.
Fantastic.
Thank
Was
you,
very
Barb.
good.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Barb, you're the best.
I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before.
Write it down.
Do you know what the most embarrassing thing was I was at